This was a long time coming, and to be honest, something I really didn't feel the need to do since I'm 50-50 with the twins' designs. But as always, YouTube can't be bothered to promote my videos if it isn't Has-Been or helluvaboss related, so here we are. And at least this one's on theme with me doing the amazing digital circus. Also, if we could get Kinger and Ragatha's videos to roughly 30k, that would be super duper swell. Anyway though, the twins. So, the twins came onto the helluvaboss scene in season 2 episode 7 as follies to Fizzaroli in the competition to become, I guess, the next it thing clown performer, though that seems to be debatable with all that Mama and Fizzy and the girls do, because most of it's not clowning. Anyway though, when the episode did drop, I was really excited to finally see Envy Citizens. I know people say loan sharks are Envy Citizens, but due to so many being in greed, I think they're Envy by design, not Sin type. But yeah, it was fun to see Envy Citizens running around, but like always, the female characters are basically humans with some demonic qualities, and Glitz and GLAM are no different, sporting basically the same, though slightly thinner shape as Verosica and the same human face with no nose every girl other than Octavia and Stella has, but it's still very irritating to see, even if it's only been, what, a year, and we still have a lot of the main female characters sporting pretty human designs or faces. And what really irks me is that if you look at their concept art, you'll see that they were going to have a much more unique face shape than what we got. Anyway though, it's just sad that they ended up looking human, but the rest of their designs are fun? Question mark? It's hard for me to tell because on first glance they look fine and fun, but the more you remember they're twins, and their theme is technically mirroring each other, but like in an opposite way, the more I'm thinking that the outfits kind of suck. Now hear me out first, okay? It's not the overall design of the outfits, but it's the connection to the other twin that makes the design suck together. Like the skirts and the tights are the only thing close to what they're doing, which is a reversed mirroring thing going on, but there's just so many differences, it's hard to see the actual mirroring elements they want to go for. Like, again, the skirt is fine, as one of the skirts has the same pattern as the others, whose skirt is just that shape with bells to match her eyes and lips, whereas the other skirt just matches the twins, but you could argue that the design is also a little bit similar to her eyelashes, but not her lips. Now the tops, both are crop tops, that's fine, but one is completely long sleeved and the other is just one sleeve that's not the same color and is wearing an arm sleeve. Also, the sleeve ends are different on the right and left of each twin's arm, whereas the other sleeve's ends do match. It's just the coloring that's different. And then their tights, again, are good because they're matching, but they're on opposite sides of their legs, which works so much more for the reverse mirroring that they're doing. It's just everything else is just not mirroring each other. Like, what they're wearing does not mirror the other twin. It's so opposite that it doesn't even qualify as a reverse mirroring. Like, explaining this is so difficult. But last thing, because it's my biggest hang up, is the swapping of shapes and no clear theme between them. Like, one twin has a clown puff on her top and the other has an upside down heart instead of a diamond, which would be better since there's no other shape on her that is an upside down heart. She also has dots on her sleeves, yet the twin who should have the dot motif has diamonds. And I get the swapping, that's fine, but like, they should have a theme within them. The comedy and tragedy thing only goes so far. And then here's the real kicker. This twin has both diamonds and dots in her hair, while the other basically has nothing. And I only say that because even though there are dots in her hair, they're drawn super small, or they're hardly ever there, because the first time I watched this episode, I didn't even know she had them to begin with. Also, speaking of their hair, I won't lie, I do love the bangs. I think they're fun and different, but similar enough to get away with it. But the Finn wavy one piece of hair thing in the back, it's just way too much. For me, I want to be clear about that. But at the end of all of this, I just don't see how this makes sense with the mirroring mismatched twins vibe going on. Which sounds crazy to say out loud because, like, on first glance, again, it looks like they did that. But it's just a mess of the actual idea, which I can't say I'm surprised since look what they did to Leviathan. Let's just move on to the designs. So, for the twins designs, I decided to just mix the concept art and the OG designs body-wise, because again, I'm kind of tired of the lack of anything different for the female characters. And yes, I did keep them pretty humanoid this time around since I wanted to keep them roughly looking like themselves. But anyway, I gave them their concept art faces and a clown nose because I'm low-key tired of the girls having no noses. I also reshaped their horns because it straight up just hit me as I was sketching that they basically have the same horn shape as Chaz and Millie and pretty much every Envy citizen I've seen in the background. And, well, that didn't really sit right with me, especially since they're performers, and all of the more performer-based characters within the show have pretty unique horns, so I wanted to keep that going. So I decided to just curve them inwards a bit to give kind of like a more stiff jester-like hat, and I will explain why I said that, don't worry. And now for their hair. I did keep it roughly the same as the OGs. I just made their bangs a bit bigger and removed the eel tail from the back of their heads and reworked them into fins on their backs. Mainly to do something a little different because I've noticed that a lot of the more fish fin type characters just have the full fin on the back of their head instead of actually having any fins anywhere else on their bodies, which just seems kind of not fair and weird considering the sharks have fins. Like, how do these fish people swim in their own waters? Anyway, and this is where I come back to the jester thing. So I decided to give them a like tight jester bonnet, as you can see, because it's completely colored black, but their hair is still in the style of a mohawk. There's just a slit in the bonnet for their hair. I also made the marks on their hair more noticeable by putting dots on Glitz's hair and making them white so you can't not see them, and made Glam's dots into diamonds. I also redid their eyelashes, and I know they're fraternal twins, but I still wish their eyelashes were slightly similar. So I sharpened Glitz's eyelashes and inverted the colors and added dots to the ends of them to match her sister, which for Glam's eyelashes I didn't change them at all, other than add the same outer color and made her dots diamonds. Now, the rest of the body stuff I did was mostly due to the concept art thing, as the story beat designer used Miss Spink and Miss Forcible as inspo, and I do kind of like to think that this did carry over into the OG designs due to the flash scene where Glitz's chest doubles in size, and I get that their tops might be tight, but I don't think they're that tight. Coming from a big-chested girly, there's only so much latex can do, assuming it's latex. And the amount of, like, butt focus on Glam, so yeah, I decided to go for a much bigger chest for Glitz and a more pear shape, aka a more full bottom for Glam. I also gave them rib gills and fins on their legs, mainly just to add a few more extra aquatic details. Also, yes, their fins are shaped like their hair, and yes, they do have a second pair tucked in them that look different than the wings that they had in their performance, because apparently those are real. Those are their biological wings, so part of me thinks that they're not just eels, they're also like those little like glowy angelfish things. I'll pull it up, don't worry. And I'm just like, okay, I see the vision, but I don't see it being executed, so I'm just gonna move on. Anyway though, on to the outfits. So, for their outfits, I decided to keep the weird mix of jester and clown and Harley Quinn aspects, since it's clear the twins don't care to know the true difference. Neither does the show, but that's irrelevant, and just want the fame that comes with being Maman's favorite. However, I still wanted their outfits to be mirrors of each other, but opposite, along with creating optical illusions when one stands behind the other. So I fused their original OG tops, and it's now a curved hem crop top with one long sleeve that has dots for Glitz and diamonds for Glam. And the bare arm now has a long glove similar to the other twin, but also now has a glove similar to Glam's OG glove. Also, the shirt is split in two fabric-wise, where the dark side is plain with neon markings, and the other side is striped to somewhat match with Maman's stripes, like his tights. Oh, I did also keep the original chest designs for both twins, as I found it funny that the twin with the more larger chest, doesn't have a boob window, unlike her more smaller sized sister. Though I did make Glam's boob window a diamond shape to keep with her overall theme, which is diamonds, and gave Glitz another puff to her chest, as one just feels weird, and since it's not super big in the original, I seriously thought at one point it was just a print on her shirt. Also, Glitz's top now gives like major underboob, you know, for the girlies. Anyway though, for their tights/skirts, I decided to, again, fuse both designs by making the stripe-sided shorts overlap on the darker tight that goes all the way up, and decided to add a dark belled skirt on just that half. That way, when they're overlapping, it looks like a full skirt. Also, I did create like a split short and tight thing going on the striped side, mainly to match the other side of their arm. The same patterns for each girl is the exact same as their sleeves to really drive home whose symbol is whose. Also, the reason I decided on dots and diamonds was mostly because of the tragedy and comedy masks going on between them. You can see that Glitz is the comedy mask, where she's constantly smiling, whereas Glam is the tragedy mask, as she's always frowning. Well, not always, but like 9 times out of 10 she's frowning, so I wanted to keep with that motif, and I really liked the idea of like a sharp diamond, very hard, very like cutthroat, being the tragedy symbol, whereas the comedy mask style is the dots, aka like a nice bouncy ball. Like circles are to me a weirdly happy shape, so that is why I decided that these particular symbols worked best for the twins. I also did keep the puffs on their shoes, but decided to give them, you know, shoes, since they're just kind of walking around in tights and nothing else. Oh, and I gave them small ruffle cuffs as a weird nod to Fizzaroli, because while it is shown in the episode they don't care for him, I do kind of want to believe that they honed their look and included a lot of things of his to see what worked best, since Fizz kind of seems to be like the only celebrity clown and has also been the winner for years of this competition. So I am pretty sure the twins have tried all kinds of combinations of outfits and trying to pick apart Fizzaroli's outfit to see what works for them and what works for him. Also, I almost completely forgot. So the reason I went with a jester type bonnet is mainly because I don't think there are any performers who actually do clowning in Hell. They all just kind of mimic what Maman does or says is clowning, and since his crown is his jester hat, it makes more sense that all the performers would wear something similar, because the more I think about Fizzaroli and Maman and how much they look alike, the more I'm like, okay, a part of you picked Fizz because of how much you guys looked alike. So a part of me thinks that like a lot more clown performers started incorporating jester hats into their outfits, that way that it's like as a nod to Maman in general, and I guess like in a weird way to show that they admire him. However though, the reason I did a simple one for the twins was mostly to show how the twins actually feel, aka there is no color, there's no extra embroidery, there's no bows, there's no bells and whistles. It's very bland and simple, but it being solid black is also very show-stopping, because that's not something that would have been the norm for a jester or clown. Like, color is very important to both, so I really wanted it to show that the twins straight up just want the fame that comes with being Maman's favorite. Plus, they're completely fine with being objectified and sold, unlike Fizz, who isn't okay with the dolls and probably never was before he started dating Ozzy. And I mean, the twins in a weird way do kind of show that they do not actually care about clowning as a whole. I mean, sure, they perform and they probably enjoy it, but at the end of it, it is just the fame that they want and not the love of the game. But anyway, colors. So weirdly enough, just like Chaz, the twins are not actually green, but more of a blue hue, which at the end of it, it is fine since the envy ring isn't colored green, but I did prefer their more teal looks, so I just fused their actual flat colors with their green sky colors. I also toned down the black and made it more of a block color to avoid overlapping. Anyway though, I mainly use the colors from their hair as the main colors for their overall outfits and even face paint. That's right, they're wearing face paint, just like Fizz. Mimicry is the sincerest form of flattery. Anyway though, everything is roughly colored the same except the eyelashes, which I just inverted, but everything else is still roughly the same color-wise since they were doing a dark top with a light bottom. This time it's both. But for my highlight color, I weirdly decided to use a very pale white blue color, which, yeah, due to the heavy overlays of the ring's colors, the highlight color will probably be swallowed up, but this color for some reason just weirdly looks good with the overall color palette that I picked out, and is weirdly bright and striking enough to combat with the neon teal, which is not easy to do. Also, yes, I did add an extra color, aka their skin color. I'm honestly very tired of the characters being either white or pastel colored or gray adjacent, so I unlightened the twins' skin and made it a more rich green hue color to show where their true loyalties lie, which is greed. And that is about it color-wise. But yeah, this was both fun and very frustrating as I tried really hard to stick to the rules of these characters' overall makeup and like information, and I think I did pretty okay. I still wish I knew what type of creature they're based on, because a lot of people say clownfish, a lot of people say eels, and a lot of people just like say a random fish out loud, and I'm just like, I don't know if that's true. It's never been said, and I don't think it's anywhere on the Patreons either. But I do think that I did manage to nail a more like clown aesthetic for their outfits. I know I added jester elements, and that's mostly because I believe that none of the performers actually know the difference between clowning and gesturing, so yeah, but I still wanted them to feel more clown, if that makes sense. I know Sam tries to explain the song as not being about clowns, but I'm like, words have meaning, and clown is clown, so yeah. But yeah, I think I was able to give a more clown vibe than jester vibe. Y'all let me know, because I'm 50-50 on it, but at the end of it, I'm pretty satisfied with this. Also, I'm not too sure what I will do for Saturday. I know there's a Barbie short coming out during Level Up, which I just so wish I was there. I want to see the Glitch booth, so they're never here in Houston, and I'm like, it's not fair, but you know what, maybe next year. But anyway though, yeah, if it does come out early enough, I will do my best to review it, as I am really curious on what they're gonna do since it is Blitz's sister. But if not, we're gonna have a really deep discussion about Vaggie and Lucifer as a whole, since they're the only two angels in hell, and there's a lot of weird plot hole, weird world building stuff going on with them that I'm like, we need to discuss this. But after that, it'll be Zooble and Gangle's redesign, and one fat rant about fandom etiquette, because some of y'all need to calm down about the movie. But anyway though, look forward to that. We still don't have any new members to scream at today. Pooh, we'll get them next time. But we do have special thanks to give to 4foot10 for their special thanks on my Kinger and AI Fruit Love Island video. Y'all should check those out, by the way. I hear they're really good. On to the wall of teeth you go. Also, thank you to the other members. You have my whole heart. Everyone else, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on my socials right here. And if possible, hit that join button or super to join the Board of Teeth. It really helps out the channel and me. I hope you all have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!